Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
We have good news for the WNBA CBA negotiations. The Players Association has given a counter proposal. We have bad news for the WNBA CBA negotiations. The Players Association has given a counter proposal. We're going to talk about it. Are my eyes red? My eyes, they feel very, very red. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. My voice will come back someday. So, as I just mentioned, the WNBPA has come back with a counter proposal, basically their first one. It has a little bit of movement, I guess. I guess that has a little bit of movement. But as you can see right here in the title, they are still on the gross revenue number, which I just don't, I mean, unless it really, really comes down a lot to where it's like the league's like, hey, you know what? Even with the worries of profitability, that is so low that it's probably less than what we're asking in terms of net revenue. So maybe it's a possibility, but at this number, I just don't see the league. I don't see the league folding on this. But let's take a look at some of this other stuff. WNBPA seeks 25% of league revenue and counter proposals. Now, it's actually, this is a little disingenuous. It's actually more than that. As you can see in the subhead, they asked for an average of 27.5% of total league revenue over the life of the proposed deal. So it's going up, it's going up. It doesn't break it down to what that total number is, say, in the last year of the proposal, although I'm guessing it's over 27.5%, since that is going to be the average over the deal. So it seems as if they're going for that same total amount, they're just taking a little longer to get there, not asking for as much early on in the deal. But let's take a look because we got some other key things here. The union submitted a counter proposal last Tuesday. Multiple sources say they're seeking to team provided housing for all players. My lord, in the first several years of the proposed CBA, in addition to 25% share of total league revenue, averaging out to roughly 27.5% over the life of the deal. The union's proposed salary cap has dipped below 9.5 million from a previous request for roughly 10.5 million. Now, again, keep in mind the salary cap for the previous CBA was roughly about 1.5 million. So 9.5 million, yeah, they came down a little bit, but they came down from an absurd and unrealistic number to a still absurd and unrealistic number. That's just not going to be low enough. We know the league had jumped from 1.5. I think it's actually down. I want to make sure I have it right. Okay. Proposed salary cap 5.65 million up from 1.5 million. And there's the number. I was right. Where is it? Shared 6 weeks with the revenue sharing system that deducts certain expenses, resulting in less than 15% of total league revenue. Okay, so the league now is, or the players now, 27.5%, because we got to go life of the deal. We're not going to go with the 25. And the league, 15%. Now, here's a question I have for everyone, because I've yet to see this, and we've talked about this previously. The WNBA only owns 42% of the WNBA, 42% owned by the NBA, the remaining 16% owned by outside investors. I've heard rumblings that Kathy Engelbert may be trying to buy that back, although now is probably the worst. I mean, talk about the worst investor of buy low, sell high. I mean, buy high, sell low. It should be buy low, sell high. Kathy's looking to buy high and or sell low and buy high, I guess is how I should put it. But so I'd love to know what this number is about. And I wonder because I didn't want to get into it too much because it was too much guessing for me. But there was a part where Natasha Cloud, and I didn't really talk about it, where she started talking about the pie and how the league gets this big part of the pie, and then the players get this other part, but they have to divide it up and share it and this and that. And I wondered if this is what she was talking about, which is, unfortunately the way it is. So when the players ask for 25%, and same with the league in the other direction, say the 15, is it 25% of the total league revenue? because that can't possibly work, right? Like if it's 25% of the 42%, I mean, I don't know if that's a good deal or not for the league without really looking at all the numbers that we don't have access to, but 25% of the total thing just isn't going to cut it, right? Like it's an impossibility. You have to understand that even a 50-50 revenue share for league and players would be 21% of the entire pie. Are you following? Because the league only owns 42% of the league. So now we've got the players saying they want, and I believe the owners sort of caved on the whole housing thing, at least maybe not to this degree, but I know they talked about a stipend and so forth and player housing for players and rookie contracts and all that. But the players want housing for every. So given that you're on a max salary, you're making 7 figures a year to play part time, right? It's a part time league, really, until it's up to 60, 65, 70 games and the season's 6, 7, 8 months. It's a part time league. You want to make 7 figures and you want the team to provide housing for you. It sounds like a lot to me. I'm just saying if I was making 7 figures to work 4 or 5 months, mm, I don't know if I'm really going to be begging for housing as well. Now it says the league has never made financial records available. They do not need to. Okay, that's and to that housing thing we've got, it's not common, right? This is not something that happens in other sports. Now, I get it coming into the WNBA early on in its years and this and it being such a short season and providing at least a stipend or whatever because a lot of players, that may only be where they were spending 3, 4 months. Again, don't forget the number of play games being played now is far more than what it used to be in the past, right? Big difference in games. So the season was even shorter than it is now. So I completely get that as part of the deal when you looked at the salaries and people having to relocate and all of that. But I just don't think that this number, just want to make sure I didn't miss any other numbers when I was going through this. I just don't think that this number is a starter. Again, we don't have a drop dead date. I did a video on Adam Silver. I think he punted on that. He should have had some real leadership and said, "Hey, this is the date right here. We've got to get a deal done by by right now." I think the players, if they're getting the housing that they want, I think they need to accept this deal. I think if it's no one knows the length. I've heard this and that, and like the players speculating here that it's maybe 6 or 7 years. So to benefit the players, here's my thing, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're always going on with the against the players. Well, because they're being really unrealistic. But in their favor, I would say, hey, take the league deal. Okay, you've got the housing. Um, again, salaries are jumping a lot. You're getting revenue share, which you weren't getting. Take it, ask for a shorter deal or an opt out, kind of like you had this after, say, 3 or 4 years. And I know that makes, a hassle for everything. But if you can show over the next 3 or 4 years that the league is on firm ground, it's on solid footing without it being all about Caitlin Clark, then you have reason to ask for more of these numbers that you were asking for because we got to know, is it a is this a just a once in a generation thing? Is this a blip or is this sustainable? Right? They're two very different things. And you have to look at it from the owner perspective of, hey, all we've seen so far is that Caitlin Clark brings in numbers. We haven't seen that the league brings in numbers if there were to be no Caitlin Clark, right? So that is a lot of risk for the league. And I think the players need to understand that, and they don't recognize that. It's too much of them being, this main character syndrome, this narcissism of it's all about them. It's not about any of you except Caitlin Clark. And yes, you're seeing what we keep telling you could happen if you would be likable and put a good product out of other players getting fans from Caitlin Clark who had never seen them play before. But you've got to make sure that that grows enough and that that sticks. So this whole idea of forcing a strike of strike talk, this is really risky stuff for the league. The league's still building their audience. Momentum is fragile. The public could tune out just as easily as they tuned in, and you're not going to flip a switch and you're not going to get them back, right? So we have to. prove, as the players, you have to prove that what this is actually happening, that this growth is actually real for the league, that it is sustainable. And I don't think the players are acknowledging that reality. I think the owners understand it. I don't know that they want to come out and be blunt and hit you over the head with it and say, look, none of you are doing anything. It's all Caitlin Clark. Because, I mean, I think a lot of the players deep down know that, and that's been a problem in general. So, man, this moment matters. The league could be growing. The players are getting some visibility. They have got to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? Let's take this deal. It's million times better than what we were just playing under. Let's take it. Let's ask for, even if they WNBA won't shorten the deal, ask for an opt out after 3 or 4 years, okay, and prove that it's not about just Caitlin Clark. Prove that the league is growing, okay? Because look, and I couldn't find something this detailed for the players um, for TV ratings, although we know again the last million viewer game was back in 2008, the first game of the season for Candace Parker. But just to give you an idea, here is WNBA attendance. As you can see, 2024 is not in here. 1.1 million total, as you can see in 2024 with the Fever. I mean, just the top two teams did that, thanks to Caitlin Clark. But as you can see, the league, and this is what I've been trying to tell them. People talk about, oh, the explosive growth of the last few years. That's because you had this massive dip because of we all know why, right? And then it was going back up. And again, it didn't. It went 21 to 22, and then it dipped back down. But you can see how much lower these numbers are to the rest of the league. I mean, the only year that these two numbers are ahead of is all the way back in 97. So, no, the league hasn't been growing. I mean, that's just a flat out lie to say that the league has been growing. Uh, but it's going to be interesting to see if the league counters. Obviously, we've got to start seeing a little more momentum, a little quicker with proposal, counter proposal in order to get to having a season. We'll see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking it out as always. Smash the like button, subscribe. You know the deal. I will talk to you later.